Hello, welcome to the live. Today I am talking about um, becoming a money player. Specifically, you must become a money player in order to get rich in this world. And today I am casting both to YouTube as well as Instagram. I see people hopping on Instagram. Hello, everybody. I see people over here on YouTube coming in hot with a super chat already. Thank you, dealing with criticism. Hello, Vanita. Hello, Sherry. Cowlitz Bill, Aura Jane, Leah. Hello. I see people over here waving. Hello. Hi, Tish. Hello. Yeah, if you guys have questions about manifesting abundance today, feel free to go ahead and put them into the chat. I'm going to be answering those as I go along. But today I have a very special concept for you in this live, and it's about being a player and how we can learn from the stereotypical player how to be good with money. So let me explain. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about the stereotypical player, what I'm talking about is like in the romance department. When we think about the guy, the stereotypical guy who is really good at drawing in women, who has an abundance of women, the same principles that a player uses to get women is the exact same principles that rich people use to draw in money. And so I'm going to explain what these principles are. These are principles that you want to adopt into your money game in order to attract large volumes of money. Now, again, I said stereotypical player. So I'm talking about a man who's good at drawing in women. This is not a statement on gender, okay? It could be a man drawing in other men. I know we got some lady players out there. If you're a lady player, feel free to identify yourself, okay? Any kind of player is good for this example. But as I'm going along, I'm going to talk about the stereotypical male player. And that's just because that's an archetype a lot of people are familiar with. Okay. So, again, as you have questions about money, go ahead and drop them into the chat. But what I want to talk about today is how you learn these lessons from players to play money so that money comes into your wallet and you have an abundance of money, just like a typical player has an abundance of women. Okay, so let's talk about our first lesson that we can learn from players that also applies to people who are good at attracting money. Okay, so when we talk about our stereotypical male player, he's really good at getting women to chase him, and he doesn't really chase women. Now, you may notice that if you were to observe a player in his natural habitat, like if he's at a club or at happy hour or whatever, he may go up to some women, he may approach some women, but he doesn't really chase them. Rather, what he does is he focuses on them, he admires them, he appreciates them, and then he goes on about his merry business. Now, the reason why this is an effective strategy for a player is that the player focuses on the target, the woman, showers her with some attention, focuses on her in a state of appreciation, and then he withdraws and kind of goes back to his normal life. Okay. And so players are very famous for this. They'll text a couple of times and then they kind of draw back. And then the woman starts to pursue him. Okay. And so this is a phenomenon that allows a player to go out and appreciate lots of different women and get the women to chase him. Now, if you look at this in terms of money and how to attract money, people who are really good at attracting large volumes of money have the exact same attitude about it. Okay. So, what I mean by that is they can focus on money, they can appreciate money, but they're able to do that and then withdraw and go back to their life. They don't get overly obsessed with the money. They don't appreciate it and then try to force it into their pocket, but rather they do things like they look at nice artwork or they appreciate fine jewelry or they like nice things. They go out to a nice dinner and then they go back to their normal life. So they have this state of appreciation and then I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to appreciate it and I'm going to go live my life. And the going and living with your life part is the part that allows the thing that you're appreciating to chase you. Okay, so that's the first lesson that we want to learn from the player, that a player is really good at appreciating his target and then moving on. And that's what the attitude that you want to have about money and about wealth. So, one of the ways that I learned how to do this within my own life is I try to appreciate the finer things in life. So, if I see nice cars on the road, I appreciate them. If I see fine jewelry, I appreciate it. If I'm driving by a nice neighborhood, I may drive through it just to go look at the nice houses. But I don't get in there and then try to force the money into my wallet. I just go appreciate it and then I go back to my normal life. That's the first lesson that you want to learn to become a money player. You want to appreciate money, but then go back to your normal life. Let it chase you. Okay. All right. I've got some more things here on how to become a money player because that's our topic for today's live. And again, if you have questions about abundance, go ahead and drop them into the chat. I know that it's this one. We got our super chat here from Dealing with Criticism. Hey, Andrea, I enjoy listening to New Thought audiobooks daily. What other teachers' audiobooks do you recommend to expand my success library? Thanks. Ooh, lots. I would say one of my go-tos with the audiobooks is Abraham Hicks. Any Abraham Hicks fans? I really like that content. And one of the things I really love about Abraham Hicks is that Esther Hicks's voice is really calm and soothing. So a lot of her books are good. If you like to listen to stuff as you fall asleep, hers are really good for that. Course in Miracles is complicated. It's kind of hard to follow, but it's really soothing. And that's another really good one to listen to when you go to bed. For success in specific, Robert Greene is really good. That's a really good one. I recommend that. Over here on Instagram, just chiming in here and looking. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry, Dis Dreamers TV. Can I be rich without owning a business? I don't want to run a business, but almost everything I read in relation to getting rich talks about owning a business. No, you don't have to own a business. No, a lot of people do. And it is often talked about owning a business to get rich, but you can get rich from all kinds of stuff. So, like, you could marry somebody wealthy, you could get an inheritance, you could win the lottery, right? You could do something where you come up with an idea and you sell a patent for $1 billion. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could get rich that do not require a business. It just so happens that a lot of business people mouth off about money a lot, so they get more airtime, but it's not required. Good question. Good question. All right, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. Again, today's topic is how to be a money player. How do we learn the lessons of players that get lots of women and apply those to the topic of money? Because these things are the same. You'll notice that people who have an abundance of anything all follow the same kind of principles. And so I'm using this example of a player who gets lots of women because he's got an abundance of women. You can use those same principles to attract an abundance of money. So our first suggestion here that we went over was the player gets the women to chase him because he just appreciates them and dips out and goes back to his normal life. He doesn't chase them. He appreciates them and he dips out and then they chase him. Same thing's true for money. You want to appreciate it, but then go back to your normal life. Don't get super clingy and obsessed with it. All right. Our second item here. Okay. This one sounds bad, but it's true. Okay. It sounds terrible, but it's true. So true. Okay. Player doesn't chase women, but he does use them. A player doesn't chase women, but he does use them. Now, this is a principle that you also want to apply to getting rich. Someone who gets rich doesn't chase money, but they do use it. Okay, so when we're talking about a male player who likes to chase women, okay, they are notorious for just getting what they want. They got no problem exploiting the woman, taking what they want from her, right? They're using her. That's the whole gist. Now, somebody who is really good at attracting money does the same thing with money. They use it. They use it. Okay. There was a commenter I had, and I don't know who it was. I'm not going to put him on blast or anything like that. But there was a commenter I had a few weeks ago in one of these lives where we were talking about money. And one of the things that I was talking about on that live was the importance of spending money. That you want to spend money or you want to invest money. You want to put the money out there in order to get more back. And the commenter had said something to the effect that that's just a limitation. You don't need to spend money. I don't like spending money. Okay. Here's the thing though, what do you need an abundance of money for if you're not going to use it? Okay. All right. What would you need an abundance of women for if you weren't going to use them? And this isn't to say that you need to go out and waste your money. Okay. You don't need to waste your money. But the point is, what you use, you get more of. This is a very important lesson to understand about anything you want to attract in abundance. What you use, you get more of. And even if we look on the physical plane, so you guys know I'm famous for my gym analogies. If you go to the gym and you don't actually work out your muscles and use them, they don't grow. Okay. But the people who use their muscles get more muscles. The people that use their intellect get more ideas. The people that use women get more women. The people that use money get more money. Okay, so very important thing to understand is that you want to have this attitude that money is disposable. Okay, you can get rid of it, you are going to use it, there's more of it coming. All right, that's the very important attitude. So, just like a player would have that attitude about women, I'm going to use this up and I'm going to get some more. You want to have the same exact attitude when it comes to money in order to get rich. Okay. All right. Again, if you guys have questions, put them into the chat. Hello, Koala. Hello, Ken. Hello, Elizabeth. Ooh, see what kind of questions we've got. I'm looking for abundance questions mostly. So if you guys have abundance questions, those are best. Okay. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Coral Petals. That's very sweet. Abundant One says, question, I'm buying my first house and visualized a multi-family house. When I go to see them, there's some issues that stop me. What does that mean? How can I ensure my dream home or its equivalent? Issues that stop you. What kind of issues? It's just like the energy isn't quite right. Sometimes that happens. Like you want something and there just seems to be a block after block after block. That can happen sometimes. There's a couple reasons why that happens. One, the biggest remedy to this is like before you go to see the house, you want to get your vibration sky high. Because if you're walking in there kind of wobbly, you'll often encounter blocks. If you're in a high vibration, when you go to see the thing that you want, you're going to line up with it at that higher level. Okay, so this is called like segment intending or pre-paving. Before you go to do these things, you want to spend some time getting yourself in a positive state of mind. If you're not in a positive state of mind, you're going to match up wherever you're at. So any of your insecurities or worries or stresses are going to be reflected into that situation. So that's a really important thing. Like if you're going to buy a car, you're going to buy a house, you're about to meet a business partner, you're going in for a job interview, really good idea to spend some time getting yourself in as good of a place as possible before jumping into that. Additionally, before you walk into the situation, you'd want to sit there and think about a possible ideal outcome. Not a mandatory ideal outcome, but a possible ideal outcome. So maybe I'm in my car and I'm waiting to go see that house and I'm getting myself in a high vibration. And I would sit there and think about what's the best possible way this might work out. Well, maybe the real estate agent is really friendly and the house smells really nice and it's got a beautiful entryway and there's this great feature over here and great feature, and just imagine. Now again, the imagination isn't for the purpose of forcing the dream to fit when you walk in the house. It's just to get your mind thinking about this could be the best possible scenario. That's going to be much more effective at ensuring when you walk into the house you get what it is that you want. Okay. All right, guys, again, please go ahead and put your questions about abundance into the chat. Also, quick mention here, I did put at the top of the chat into YouTube. I don't know how to do it in Instagram. I don't think I can. I can do this though. When you if you guys are interested in this kind of content, I do have lots of courses and downloads that are located at my website, andreaschulman.com. Lots of different courses on different subjects, such as abundance, also relationships, career, weight loss, getting into shape, all kinds of meditation, stuff like that. If you're interested, that link is there. Also, I do run a membership program. So if you're interested in becoming a member, I do have a membership program where you get 3 downloads from me each month, in addition to access to over 250 resources that are not available on YouTube or anywhere else on a whole range of abundance topics. And so you guys can find those links. Again, they're at andreaschulman.com. And additionally, if you go to, I'll have Mary go ahead and drop the membership into the chat over on YouTube. If you see Mary 1111, yep, she put that there, membership info. There's a little link there if you are interested. All right. But back to our subject at hand. And again, our subject at hand is how to become a money player. You got to play money to get rich. You got to play anything to get an abundance of it. And so today we're talking about making the connection between a stereotypical male player. Again, players can be female too, and they can be homosexual or heterosexual or non-binary. That's not a statement on gender. I'm just using the stereotypical male player because that's an archetype, again, most of us are very familiar with. And again, the male player is really good at attracting an abundance of women. And so we want to use the same principles that that player uses to attract an abundance of women to get you to attract an abundance of money, because these are all things that people who get rich do as well. All right, so our first item here was, again, the player doesn't chase, but he does focus and appreciate and then goes back to his life. It's an important concept. The second concept was the player doesn't chase women but does use them. Okay. You got to use your money. All right, so the next topic here, players. All right. A player doesn't chase one. Okay. A player entertains many. Okay. A player doesn't chase one. A player entertains many. So, if you think about like a monogamous relationship between two people, they're really focused in on one person. Okay. So they attract one mate, one woman or one man, or one whatever. Okay. I'm going to get one thing, and they put all their eggs in the one. But the player doesn't want one. Okay. The player wants a lot. So the player entertains many. And the same principle does apply to people when it comes to attracting wealth. Okay, so somebody who is very wealthy does not focus in on one area of money. They do not become monogamous to one source of money or one kind of money, but rather a person who is rich and who is good at attracting an abundance of money entertains all kinds of money. Okay. And so this is something I have talked about before, which is that people who are rich really focus on getting money from as many places as possible. One interpretation of this is through the multiple streams of income concept. So you may see somebody was asking a question on Instagram about businesses. A lot of times rich people do have businesses, but they also have investments. A lot of them also do things like they'll play games where they like to bet money, or they like to do high stakes poker, or they like to bet on golf, but they're trying to find money from as many different places as possible. So I'm getting money from ad revenue, and I'm getting money from this product over here. And then I bought and sold this business over here, and I have this property over here that I'm going to invest. And they're looking for as many possible ways as they can to draw in money, much like a player would do the same thing. Player isn't just going to go to one bar one night, pick up one woman. No, they're going to go to lots of bars. They're going to be picking them up in the grocery store. They're going to be seeing them at the gym. They're going to be getting them everywhere. Okay. That's the attitude that you want to have about money. And so I'm glad that we had that question about business on Instagram, because you don't necessarily have to go out and start a bunch of businesses. That's one way to do it. But you want to start to look around. Well, where could I get money from? Where could I get money from next? What's an option to put a little bit more money into my pocket? And as many of those things as you can reach out to, you want to start reaching out to. Okay. So there's lots of different things. So like I enabled super chat over on YouTube. So, get a little bit of income here and there. People could chime in there from time to time. We've got ad revenue that's running in. Those are things that don't require me to do much. But whenever I see little things like that, that will allow more money to flow, I go ahead and enable those things. All right. So that's something that you want to focus on. Don't get attached to my money has to come from my job, or my money has to come from my spouse, or I have to get a lottery win. A lot of times people get very focused on one stream of income, but you want to be a money player. If you want to get rich, you want to entertain multiple sources of income all the time, as many of them as you can. All right. Let's see what kind of questions we've got here. Hi, DD International. Great to catch a live video. Nice to see you. Well, that's a good question. Florio.uk. How do you appreciate the things without longing? Okay. Well, longing really stems from lack and anxiety. So, the easiest way to appreciate without longing, again, get into a high vibration first. Okay. So, a lot of times, like if you're feeling very lackful, like let's say that you woke up today and there was all these extra bills and it's been stressful and there's not a lot of money and you're really feeling that right now, that's not the time to go drive around the fancy neighborhood, because you're already going to be feeling kind of low. It's going to be hard for you to appreciate, and that will trigger feelings of longing. Okay, so instead, what you want to do is you want to get into that state where you're in a good mood, then go appreciate. Okay, so get in a good mood first. When you are in a good mood, that's a good time to focus on something without longing. Because if you're already in a good mood, what that means is you already feel whole and you already feel complete. And so in that state, you can really focus on any topic without activating lack or longing. Okay, so just make sure that you're in a good place first. And then the nice thing about that is that will allow you to do that kind of focus work and allow some of it to start to trickle in, and you won't be feeling so much lack further down the road. Okay. Oh, thank you, Shry. That's very sweet. And thank you for following me since 2017. I've been around for a minute. Rainbow Traveling Yogi says focusing on waiting means you continue to wait. That is true. Stephen the Artist, question. Do you look for money or does it knock on your door? When it comes to women, should I ask or wait for her to offer? Ooh, does it knock on your door? Do you look for money? What I like okay, I'm trying to get to the gist of what you're asking here. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg kind of question. So, the way I like to do it, I like to think about I would like to find things to appreciate. I would like to appreciate money today and make that kind of a general intention. Okay. So the general intention is, or, I'd like to meet some women, find some women to appreciate, make that the general intention, and then go about your day. Okay. So make that a general intention and then go about your day. When the women show up, when the things show up and you're in a good mood, that's the moment to go and appreciate. Okay. So with women, you could certainly talk to women. That's fine. It's not that you can't ask. It's you could go up and ask on a date. You could go up and strike up a conversation. It's not about who does the asking. It's about I got in, I focused, I appreciated, and then I went back to living my life and having fun, rather than I'm in that state of longing and I'm trying to make it work with this woman, which will end up chasing her away. And also with money, same thing. Okay, so when it shows up, we appreciate it as much as we can, and then we get out and go back to enjoying our life, because if we hang in there past the point of appreciation, we will dip into that state of longing where we start trying to make it happen, trying to get rich or trying to make the relationship happen, and that always pushes away the things that we want. Okay, so the law of attraction is ask, believe, receive. Very important thing to remember. Okay, so asking is really kind of like that morning thing, or what we're asking here. I'd like some women, I'd like some money. That's the asking. And guess what? If you're watching this video, you've already asked for money. Okay, you've already asked. The believe part is really about being able to feel complete and whole, even around that subject. Okay. So you're able to feel that you are complete, you contain everything, you are good as you are. You already are an abundant person. Okay. That's what allows it to come to you. Okay. So appreciating something, being able to look at it, appreciate it, and then go back to your life is a very abundant way to live, because it shows that you have a very positive viewpoint about the thing that you want and you don't feel a sense of lack. Okay, so a lot of this is about appreciating your life even in the absence of the thing that you want. Cassie, 22. Does a sense of restlessness mean I'm leveling up? It can, because I like that you asked this question. A lot of times people they feel restless or stressed, or they're going through maybe a negative point in time, and a lot of times people think that that means that they're doing something wrong. But one of the things that I found out about going through a harder period like that, or if you're feeling restless or stressed, is oftentimes what's happening, especially if you're on this kind of a journey where you've been working on getting into a higher vibration. A lot of times, what will happen is you clear some blocks, and then you get to a new place where you need to clear some higher level blocks. Okay, so we're always reaching for more, always reaching for more. And so you may have gotten to a place where you grew, and now you're hitting your next ceiling, and noticing those new blocks and focusing on them and feeling distressed about them is creating that sense of restlessness. It very frequently does mean that you're ready to burst through the next ceiling. Okay, so provided that you have been growing, yeah, it can mean that you've been leveling up and you're just ready for the next level up. Great question. All right, so again, today's topic is all about how do we learn these lessons from players to attract money. Anybody who attracts an abundance of anything is a player of that subject. So, just like a player is able to attract lots of women, someone who's a money player is able to attract a lot of money. And so, we have a number of lessons that we're learning here from our players. This one's funny. Okay. Again, players don't chase women. Okay. And they don't cry over them either. Okay, players don't chase women and they don't cry over them either. And the same lesson applies to people who are wealthy, wealthy, rich people. They don't really chase money, they let it come to them and they don't cry over it either. What I mean by this is, if you got a player and the player has attracted a lot of women, it's got lots of women in his cell phone, in his DMs, lots of dates, lots of this. If one of those women decides, she's had enough of him and decides to split, he's not going to cry about it. Okay. Bye. There's another one coming. You can go. It's fine. He doesn't cry about it. All right. Same thing is true for people who are really good at attracting wealth. And this is a really important lesson for a lot of us to learn. I know for me, this was a really big lesson to learn, because before I got good at attracting money, I used to cry about my money a lot. And I don't mean like I was overly devastated, but I would get really upset if something like an expense came up. Suddenly there was a bigger tax bill or something happened, something broke, I had to fix, and I had to part with my money. Some of my money decided to leave. I would get upset about it. Okay. And this is something that we want to combat, because a player doesn't get mad about those kinds of things, because a player has an abundant mindset. They know one leaves, I probably got 3 more coming back in return. So you can go now, Brenda, because the next one's coming. That's the kind of attitude that you want to have about money when money leaves you. And this is something that a lot of people get hung up with is that they start to get good at attracting money, but the money when it leaves bugs them. And so I do get lots of questions about this from people, Andrea, I've gotten really good at attracting money, but it seems like it's always going. I attract more, but just as much leaves, and I can't seem to accumulate more. Well, a lot of that is because they're getting upset whenever the money goes. And so you want to have that player attitude that when it goes, it's fine. There's more coming. Okay. Again, we want to look at money as being disposable. I know it sounds making everything very cheap and tawdry, but the more disposable you make something, the more of it you will have. Okay. And so if you think about this kind of stuff, like, if I look at America today, this is a good example. Okay. So, way back, I've been to Europe a couple times the last couple years. And the beautiful thing about visiting Europe is you guys have just, these beautiful buildings. A lot of them are very old. They've been around for a very long time, very well constructed. They're not disposable, they stick around forever. All right. But there's not nearly as many of them as we have manufactured homes over here. Okay. So we've got these kind of more cheap put together. You can get a lot of them for a lot less, and they're disposable. We have more of a disposable attitude in this country. We've got a lot more stuff because of it. And so that's something that you want to think about is that when you make something disposable, you're able to replicate it more. It's not as important to you. It doesn't have to be cherished as much. It doesn't have to be watched over as much, but there's not as much of it. Okay. So for every one beautiful, pristine building, right, you can get thousands of crummy homes. Okay. Not a problem. That's kind of what I'm saying. I don't want to say that we want to reach for crummy disposable, but just that you want to have this attitude that it's something that it's okay. If it doesn't work out, I can throw it out. I can get another one. Having that more disposable attitude where you don't get upset when something doesn't work out is very good for attracting anything in abundance. Okay, it's a very important thing to keep in mind. All right, if you guys got questions about abundance, please go ahead and drop them into the chat. Ikra.nas on Instagram, how to attract multiple streams of income. Well, the easiest way to go about that is just to focus on the streams that you already have. So usually people are just focused on the one stream. So I have my one job and I'm really focused on my one job, and they think about the money coming from the one job. But all of you are receiving income from more than just one place. It's just that some of you aren't really paying attention to it. So you may be getting checks in the mail from your grandmother for your birthday. Okay. You may be finding money that is on the ground. You may be having a friend that buys you lunch once a month. You may be getting certain coupons that come in the mail at once a month. Start to notice, where is the money coming in? So, like, there's one that I have that's kind of silly, but I don't know why, because I don't even go to the doctor almost ever. But it's like every month, my insurance company keeps sending me like 25 bucks, like overpayments. I don't know. I don't even know. But because I started to focus on that as a stream of income, it's like I get paid every month from my insurance company. I don't even know why. I don't know why. It's just a check, 25 bucks. Okay, I'll take it. Did I work for that? No. But I view those kinds of things as streams of income, and you should too. Okay. Because the more that you focus on, I'm getting income from all these different ways, the more those ways are going to show up for you, where you may find that you end up opening a business or starting different investments, and it's more complicated, but a stream of income is just a stream of income. Okay. And so wherever money's coming from, focusing on it and appreciating it and call it what it is, that's a stream of income. You'll get more of it. Okay. So for years, I've been focusing on getting checks in the mail. Now I get lots of checks in the mail. There's no rhyme or reason. I don't even go to the doctor almost ever, but I keep getting these $25 checks. I don't know. Oh, we got another super chat here. Thank you, Abundant One. Thank you very much. Yeah, I did answer that question earlier. Visualize multiple. Okay, every time you go to see one, again, When you go to visualize the home, when you go to see the house, get into alignment first. Get into alignment first before you go to see the house. And then also before you walk into the house, in your mind, sit there and think about what's the best possible scenario. Play it out. Okay, before you walk in. It's good to visualize if you're at home before you go there, but right before you walk in to see it, you got to sit there and think about, okay, how might this be working out the best? Because that's going to align you most likely with a very positive outcome. You might not get exactly what you visualized, but you're going to walk in there, and because you're in a high vibration and you're thinking about the best possible outcome, you're going to see a positive surprise around every corner. You may end up getting more than you actually wanted. That's something that often happens to me when I do that particular strategy. Yeah. Your income comes from your wife, Paris Hilton. Okay. 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 Christy asks, how can I attract and connect with qualified buyers who are ready to invest in buying a home? So, clients, qualified buyers who are ready to invest in buying a home. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you some of my favorite advice for clients and customers, and it's not even about, it's a little bit the opposite of, let's talk focus on the positive, because a lot of times we talk about focusing on visualizing the right client, asking for the right client. You may have already done that. Here's the other thing I recommend. So if you're in business, listen up. If you need customers, clients, whatever, fire the ones you don't like or don't accept the ones that aren't good. Fire the ones you don't like or don't accept the ones that aren't good. What I mean by this is, if you are if you're a real estate agent, a lot of times what you may find, someone who's a real estate agent, they will take whoever wants to buy a home. So if somebody calls you up, maybe they saw your Google ad or they saw you on Facebook and they call you up and say, "Hey Christy, I want to work with you." But as they're talking, this person sounds like they're going to be a pain in the, okay, or that they may not be qualified, or there's something about them that rubs you the wrong way. A lot of times the real estate agent will just take that potential buyer. And then what ends up happening is that what you're saying to the universe is, I'm willing to accept less than the standard. So I'm willing to accept low quality leads. And then what ends up happening is, and you may have seen this before, is that now you have a low standard buyer. And those are the people that are most likely going to run you around. They're going to make you go look at 10,000 different houses. They're going to ask you a billion questions. They're not going to be excited about closing. If closing does come, they're going to need to change their lender. They're going to have all kinds of problems. And then you, as the real estate agent, you don't have time for the high quality buyer if and when he or she shows up. And so I'm saying this because a lot of times people who are in business or who are real estate agents, such as yourself, this is a vibrational trap a lot of y'all get into, is that you accept people, customers, and clients who are not your ideal client because you so desperately want to get money on the books that you take anything. You do not want to do that. Okay. Only accept the best. That way, when you do get somebody that you're working with, they're going to close easily, and you're going to attract more people like that. So a lot of this process is about saying no to what doesn't work, right? Okay, so you want to say yes and be diligent on only taking clients that fit the bill. I don't mean that you have to be overly picky, but if you're getting warning bells about somebody, heed them, cast them back, and ask for another fish. Again, make them disposable. Okay, clients are just, there's another one coming. They're disposable. Okay, that's the attitude that you want to have. It does sound terrible. The hair barn asks, how do you know when you're in a high vibration? Okay, so high vibration is really just a state of being in a very positive feeling. Okay, so the tellers for me, and you guys can go ahead and say in the chat, what are your tells? But for me, I'll be feeling very positive, very happy. I also typically do see that the world looks a little bit more colorful more bright. And in addition to that, I also do see that positive things will start happening. So maybe you've asked for a big dream, like maybe you want to lock down a really important relationship, okay? And people want to see that happen to confirm their high vibration. At first, you may not see that, but you may see things like people start smiling at you more. You start having some good luck here or there. Maybe you're looking better today, but all these positive outcomes start happening. When you start seeing that, you can be guaranteed that you're in a high vibration because you're starting to attract things that are wanted. Okay, so those are the big tells. The opposite of that is the low vibration. When you're in a low vibration, you do not feel good. You don't look good. You're not in a good mood, and you start to attract bad luck. Okay, that's the easiest way to go ahead and test it from my perspective. My Linnea, can you share some examples when you have attracted money and how it came to you before you became a coach? So, do you mean like before I learned about the law of attraction? Or you know what I'll do is I'll tell you like some of my earliest success. I'll give you an early success story. How about that? And this is one that has to do with the letting go of money and not crying about it. Okay. So I had this experience that happened, and this was probably only a year or so after I learned about the law of attraction. And our washing machine broke. Okay. So our washing machine was running in our house and it broke and it flooded our laundry room. Okay. Now, prior to this happening, had this happened, I would have gotten very upset about it because I really struggled with that crying over money going out thing. So I would get very upset when I lost money or when I had big expenses. But I had recently learned about the law of attraction and I was doing my best to be optimistic about everything. And so in that moment, I tried to understand, well, how is this a positive thing? How could this be a good thing? And in that moment, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this means, and this was the idea that came to me. Maybe this means that I'm going to let go of some money for this washing machine or for this damage, but I'm going to become a magnet for more money. It's team me up. If I can let go of this amount of money that it's going to cost to repair this, I'm going to be a magnet for more money. Well, that was the idea that went through my mind. And funny enough, the insurance company comes, they send the adjuster, and the adjuster looks at the damage. He's like, well, you're going to need this and this and this and this. And he ended up submitting a claim for us that really allowed us to do a lot more. It allowed us to improve the flooring, improve that room, get brand new washer dryer. Like the whole room looked so fabulous after it was done. And that really keyed into my mind that, let it go and you may get more because now I have a whole redone room and all these new appliances because this misfortune happened. Okay. And so that right there was one of the earlier things that was kind of a big thing where a negative thing happened, but I treated it as if it was disposable and I was still abundant and had that idea that maybe this is going to draw more abundance into my life. And it did. And that really stuck with me. And it's why it's one of those principles I talk a lot about on my channel today. All right. Yes, again, our topic for today is players and how we can learn lessons from players because players attract an abundance of women when we're talking about the stereotypical male player. And in this particular audio, we're going to talk in this video, we're talking about how you can take those lessons and apply them to attract more money because people who attract money are money players. All right. Now, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel or followed me on Instagram, please go ahead and do so. If you already have, thank you so much. And thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. If you can like, comment, all that stuff always helps. And then also, if you are new to my work and you have yet to take my manifesting test, please make sure to do so. Mary, if you would go ahead and drop that one into the YouTube chat, I would appreciate it. But that is a very quick, free 5-minute test where you can put something out and watch it come back and know for sure that you really are the creator of your reality. So if you haven't yet taken that particular test, make sure to go ahead and do so. And our next topic here is going to be on players again. And another thing that players do is that players are very good at dressing for success. It doesn't mean that all players are the best dressed in the world, but players do a good job of dressing to attract. You ever notice that? That if you can kind of spot a player if you go out, you can kind of see this guy, right? He looks like he's trying to keep it together to impress the ladies, right? So he's got a matching outfit on, or he's got his cologne on, or he's wearing his watch. That he's doing the part to be an attractive magnet to women. And you will also see the same thing for people, typically people who are wealthy, who are rich, also do dress for success. They dress to attract that which they want. A lot of times I think people think that people just dress rich or flashy to get attention from other people. And some people definitely do. But for me, I noticed that for myself personally, and also when I started investigating this, when I learned about people who are really wealthy, a lot of times the only reason they're dressing the way that they do is because they're trying to become more of an attractive magnet for money. One of the really cool things about adorning yourself for wealth is that it's a constant reminder. It is a constant reminder. So if you're always looking down and seeing the jewelry or the perfume or the hair being done or the nice clothes, if you're always seeing that, it's a constant reminder to yourself that I am abundant. I am abundant. I am abundant. I am rich. I am wealthy. Constant because you're always with yourself, much like a player. If they're always dressed looking sexy, they're walking around thinking, I'm attractive, I'm attractive, I'm attractive, I'm attractive. It's a constant reminder. And with the law of attraction, that's how we attract things. It's you have to have that constant thought, I am rich or I'm attractive. It has to constantly be going out in order to be constantly receiving it. And so dressing for success is also a good idea. Now, you may not have the money yet to buy the fanciest jewelry or go to the best hairdresser or whatever, and that's okay. This isn't about you having to reach a particular ideal. Wherever you are, reach higher. That's it. Because through the law of attraction, you will build momentum. So if you're dressing here right now, how can I get it here? Okay. And once you get here for a while, you're going to attract more money and then bring the dress up here. Okay. So make that kind of your mission to dress better and better as you attract more money that will speed up your wealth game. Fine line. I love you too. Thank you. Olga, if I have a side business and want to live from it, how to get there? Ooh, I have a side business. What it sounds like, I could be wrong, but what it sounds like when I read that is maybe I have a current job and I have this side business and I want to jump from current job to side business, or I have this situation that's giving me money, but I want to get all my money from side business. Okay. The first thing, again, is we want to remember that things are kind of disposable. So we don't want to get super tied into the idea that it has to come from the side business. Okay. That's one thing. Um, Another thing is that if you are currently in a job you don't like, it can be beneficial to just jump into the side business. That doesn't mean that you have to, but this is for the people out there. Like if you have a job that you hate and you're trying to get your side business going, sometimes it can be very helpful just to take the leap and go do it. And that's actually what I did. I used to be a school teacher and I did not want to be a school teacher anymore. And I wanted to start a business, but I had not started this yet. I hadn't done anything yet. I just quit my job and started doing this. And the benefit about that is that it kind of puts you into a place where mentally you have to get on board. Now, that's kind of extreme for some people. You don't have to do it that way. But if you feel like you've got what it takes, just making the leap and going for it makes it where you actually have to do something. Okay. So I don't have this job over here I don't like anymore to lean back on. I'm really going to dial in and choose to have faith. That's kind of the leap of faith mentality. That's something that I do think is helpful You don't have to do that all at once. You can also do this by momentum. So scaling back with your current job and amplifying more on the side business. But the big thing that keeps side businesses as side businesses is that people treat them as side businesses. Okay. So as long as they're not seen as the dominant force, then they're not going to be the dominant force. But again, when we're talking about getting rich, they don't have to be. So, always in the back of your mind, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have a bunch of multiple streams of income. That's not necessarily a bad thing for a side business to be a side business. But if you're looking to take the focus away from a job you don't like, the real game is how do I get out of that job as quickly as possible and put as much effort, or not effort, but focus into the side business as possible so that becomes dominant. Whichever one you're putting more energy into will maintain dominance over the other one. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Cowlitz Bill, having a good hair day and birds come near me for a high vibration. Yeah. Yeah, the birds. Do you guys get the birds when you're in a high vibration? I have this thing that happens to me. Tell me if this happens, if I'm the only one. If I'm driving and I'm in a really good mood, the birds will drive like not drive. They'll fly like right in front of my car. And sometimes it's almost crazy because they'll be one after another, just it keeps diving through. I don't know if I'm the only one that has that. I don't know, but I've noted that never used to happen to me. That happens to me a lot when I'm in a high vibration. Yeah, if you guys got questions, drop them into the chat. Again, I'm answering questions on abundance today. Well, this is not an abundance question, but I like it. Samira Samira Lee Koob, how to attract a specific person when they blocked or cut you off? Move on. Disposable. Yeah. Yeah, move on. Um eh, eh, a lot of times people cling. The less you need it, the more it'll come back to you. You will probably find, like, some people this happens repeatedly, like, with the specific people that they block and then they come back and then they block. Let it go. Get back to your life. Go have fun the best you can. When they come back, approach it differently. Meaning you want to have that kind of attitude of don't get so invested in it, just have fun with it. All right. But yeah, that's the main thing. If they walk away, let them go. If you try to make them stay, then that's clinging and that will force them to stay away from you. The big trick is you got to just let them walk away and go back to having a fun life. I would recommend go date some other people just for fun. That's helpful too, because then you feel like you have options and you can adapt more of that player attitude, which makes you more attractive to people to come to you in the first place. I'm not saying that you have to do anything sexual with all these people, but just go date some other people, get some more options, because then you're going to have that attitude of, oh, I've got lots of options. So it doesn't matter if this one goes. And then if you don't care if this one goes, then this one will come back. I hope that's helpful. NSC 4569. I felt like your vibe went higher first, then the washing machine broke because the insurance ended up giving more for upgrades. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I was learning the law of attraction, right? It was an opportunity. It was an opportunity to level up. But like that person said on Instagram, there was a moment of restlessness there before that happened. Because that bashed up against a limitation for me, but I was able to kind of stick with it. Yeah, I think that's a good observation. Mark Brooks, is it possible to be wired in reverse? Example, I was totally positive and believing about my dream job. After 6 years, nothing. Then I got really negative and boom, the job fell into my lap. I love that. Yeah. Okay. That's actually common. That's common. Okay. So what happens when that happens? Because I've seen this happen with me a bunch and with other people a bunch. What's happening with that dynamic is, okay, there's something that I want. So you really wanted your dream job. That's what Mark wanted his dream job. And so I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to be positive about it. This is going to happen. This is going to work. Da, 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 da. I'm going to stay positive. And what's happening as time progresses and the job isn't coming, all of that positivity is really kind of forced. We're trying to stay positive because I know I need to be positive in order for this to come. So I'm going to keep being positive. But really, the thought back here is it's not coming. That's why I have to stay so positive. It's not coming. That's why I have to stay so positive. You see? So forced positivity is actually resistance. That's what it is. And a lot of us do that. We learn about the law of attraction. We try to stay so positive so everything works out for us. But what ends up happening is when something's not working and we're telling ourselves to be positive, we're trying to force the outcome. And whenever we try to force the outcome, it doesn't happen. So eventually, what will happen is what happened to you there. You're like, you know what? Whatever. This sucks and it's not working, and fine. I quit. And that, although it sounds very negative, is actually you letting go. I don't care anymore. I'm done. I'm just going to be negative. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Whatever. You see? So sometimes what we say is actually the reverse. See, what you were doing for those 6 years may have looked on the surface as positive, but it was actually negative. And when you got upset about it, it looked negative, but it was actually positive because it was a form of letting go. Sometimes it really helps to have that F it attitude. When you're trying to make something happen or when you're trying to have a desired outcome, I'm gonna stay so positive, so positive. When it's not working out, guys, and you can tell you're frustrated, whatever, this isn't working, I'm done. That will often be enough to kick your dream directly into reality. I've seen that plenty of times because it's a form of letting go. I hope that makes sense. I actually love when that happens because it's like, man, why was I holding on for so long? I could have gotten ticked off a lot earlier. Lay 1111 lay. I'm building a side business outside of my normal job. It has been a year and a half and I haven't received any profit yet. How do I decide when is the time to move on trying something else? Well, it depends. I mean, if you're doing something you like to do, if you enjoy it, if you do want to see it through, you can stick with it. But try something else now. And what I mean by that is like what I'm doing right now currently isn't resulting in profit. So what could I do differently within the side business? How could I pivot? Pivoting, I guess, is the operative word. So like whenever if my business is kind of stale or things aren't really running, that's what I will do is I'll sit there and think about, okay, what are some different ways that we could get money running through this business? What might work? And jot down a bunch of ideas. And then pick the one that looks like it's the most fun and exciting. Not the one necessarily that's going to yield the most money, but the one that would yield money but would be fun and exciting and go do that. A lot of times when people are building businesses, this is another thing. A lot of times when people are building businesses, they're not focused on the money. That's another thing. So they're building the business, but they're thinking about things like, okay, well, let me get the account set up and let me get the people in place and let me get the product set up and but they're not actually thinking about the money and what would bring money through the door. Okay. So a lot of times when people are building businesses, they get really sidelined doing a lot of busy work, putting things in drawers and organizing spreadsheets and all of these tasks that are not necessarily money related. And so that's the other thing I would recommend is that in your side business, or your business, make it your mission to focus on the money. That's my job. This is a business. Business is supposed to bring in money. So my job is to bring in money. So what are the things that you can be doing to focus on bringing in money? As much of the time as you can that you put into your business, make it focused on bringing in money. The other jobs that you're doing, the other things that you're doing that are not based on revenue, either, get rid of them entirely or delegate them, but spend as much time as you can focused on what can I do to bring in money because that's what business is. All right? So those are the things I suggest in that situation. Focus on the money and then find a way to pivot. What are some ideas, new things you could do to bring in money? Pick the one that looks the most exciting and go do that. Yeah, and along those lines again, guys, remember I've got some courses. I did pin my courses to the top over on the chat on YouTube. And then also, if you're on Instagram, you can go to andreaschulman.com. I've got lots of law of attraction courses that you can take a look at, as well as a membership program that you can join. Lots of content. I have been doing this for a while, so I've got lots of courses, lots of videos, lots of audios on all kinds of topics, all kinds of stuff that you guys may want to learn. So definitely go check those out. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Talking about streams of income here. Thank you, Opulent Beauty. And she says, "You have changed my life for the better over these last few months. I am now able to attract money easily into my reality. May the donation be a tithe to you. May it return to me a thousandfold." Ooh, I like that. Oh, you get the whole concept, right? Give more to get more. I love it. Thanks so much. And thanks, guys, for signing in here today and joining me for this live. I do plan on having another one. I'm trying to do them twice a week right now. That may change, but my plan is to do the next one on Thursday, this coming Thursday. It'll be at the same time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. I will be on YouTube and Facebook for the next one. So if you're on Instagram, try to join me over on YouTube or Facebook. But thanks so much for joining in today, guys. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys had fun, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Okay? Bye bye.